All right, let's talk about harness fitting. The first thing you need to know about fitting a dog on your harness is it needs to be on the dog with tension from the pulling point in order to really properly assess the fit. Before we can do that, I'm going to just talk about the few things you want to be looking for when you put the harness on. So a modern harness has this Y-shaped design on the front. This middle bit where the Y meets itself is going to be where most of the pulling force comes from, where it's distributed. So you want this to be on a strong bony part of the dog, not on a fleshy part. Their head goes through here, and if you think about a comparison to your own body, your neck has all these fleshy bits, and right below the most tender spot is bone, right? The breastbone. So on your dog, that's the prosternum, and that's where we want this part to sit, right on the bony part. If this fit is not correct, if it's too loose or if it's too small, it's going to ride up on the fleshy bits, and when your dog pulls, it's not gonna feel good. It's gonna affect their breathing. You're gonna hear rasping and gasping, and they're probably not gonna pull that much. So you wanna make sure this is definitely sitting in the right spot. So the other parts of the harness that you want to look at are these side straps, and they go up over the dog's rib cage, and they do need to be sitting on the dog's ribs. If this part is too long, if the harness fits too long, these side straps will fit in the squishy bits on their ribs, which won't feel good. So you want those supported by the ribs as well. And then your dog's front legs will fit through these holes here. We want to make sure that shoulder has room to move and that it's not rubbing up under the armpit. And as the harness sits over the back of the dog, we also want to make sure that the thigh is free to move. So if the harness is too long, this will sort of ride over the dog's butt and restrict how their legs move. We don't want that. So let's just take a look at a couple harnesses. I've got two different sizes from the same maker. Everybody wants me to say what is the best harness maker, what's the best brand, and that entirely depends on your dog. Different brands have different fitting sort of proportions, and so it's going to definitely depend on the breed and size of your dog. You're going to have to probably do a little trial and error, do some measuring to figure it out. One tip, don't get the generic stuff off of Amazon. I haven't seen any of those generic X-Bax harnesses fit a dog well yet. And they're twice as expensive as one that you get from a regular sled dog supplier. So I'm gonna put on, this is a smaller harness, you just leave that. So we're gonna look at how this fits first. This just goes over her head. I just sort of pull the collar through there so it's not interfering with the fit. Front leg. Front leg. And I just like to bend her legs very gently. Push them through. Let's get this out of the way. We're going to set this here so you can look at it. You just come over here, my friend. Good girl. So if we put some tension on this harness, we're going to see this is too small. Good girl. Good girl. So the first thing you'll see is we're getting some armpit chafing there, and that's not going to feel awesome at all. This is also too short in the back. We would like this part here to be closer to where her tail attaches to her body, because this is where it attaches to the sled, and it's just gonna pull a little better. If I leave this harness on her, it's gonna slide around like this. It's gonna chafe under there, and if I can just show you this is riding on her fleshy bits, so she's not gonna be able to breathe well. It's gonna hurt. If I feel down her throat, just like I did on myself, fleshy, 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 bone. I want to be able to feel that, and for her, it's right here is where we would prefer that Y to sit. Over here. Sit, stay, leave it. So we're going to try the next size up. This one is a medium size from this maker. Exact same thing. Put it over her head. I can already tell that's a little bit easier to fit over her head. However, don't let how it fits over your dog's head predetermine how it fits over your harness, because some dogs are going to have a head that's going to make it for a little snugger going on than others, and that's not really related to how the harness itself fits. Leg, this leg. I'm going to put some tension on this. Now, you can see, as I talked about before, right at the base of her tail, we've still got this on her ribs, so it's supported, not pulling into the squishy bits. Same thing on the other side. Now we've got room under her elbows, so no chafing there. And then if we look at this front part, it's right on that bony bit, right on her prosternum, so it's gonna feel nice. Ready? Get it. There you go. So you got a little bit of information on how harness fitting works and how it looks when it's the right fit.